Students, good morning. Today we are going to learn economics second lesson, that is rural development. Rural name itself indicates the village. The village picture you just observe. So still now in our country maximum people are depending on the agriculture, and the village areas are completely depending on the agriculture and byproducts of agriculture only. So maximum villages are not yet developed in our country. So in this lesson we are going to learn about how the rural development is taken place from the independence to till now. 70 years, past 70 years we are observing the development in rural areas and agriculture widely developed. But even though they are following certain primitive methods which may not give the fruitful results for the economic development of our country. So let us know about all these points, that is meaning of rural development and decentralization. According to Gandhiji, decentralization. Why decentralization he told means? See, decentralization means the providing administrative power and the responsibility of developing the villages to people themselves is called decentralization. The people who are there in the village, they will involve in the development of their own villages. That type of decentralization has to be developed, has to be implemented in our villages, so that the economic development is also possible through that. And Panchayat Raj system. Panchayat Raj system, the village people, they themselves will be forming their own group and there will be elections also. In this, SC, ST and the women and the backward classes also will participate. They have given the certain allocation for them and they also participate, and they will decide the developmental program of their own village, whether education is essential or healthcare is essential or any agricultural development is essential or any other industrial sector to be developed. All these they will discuss in the Panchayat Raj and they will implement in their own villages. And the last part of the lesson is rural development and women. Yes, women are also a great role in village side because they are forming their own women self-help groups. The previous lesson you have observed about self-help groups. So here in this lesson you are going to learn the role of women. Now you are observing maximum of your teachers are women only. Not only in the teaching sector, not only in the education sector, you can observe each and every sector women are rendering their service without having any hesitation to participate. For example, if you observe the aircrafts or the pilot's position, you can observe the ladies. Astronauts, we can see. Doctors, engineers, lawyers and conductors present days. Drivers and many more difficult works are also chosen by the women and equally working just like men. So women empowerment you learned in the political science lesson. In that also you have observed Prime Minister women, President women, many governors women, and the chief ministers of different states are also women, and High Court judge and other court judges are also women, we can see. So that's why women role in the rural area, how they are supporting their village and how they are supporting their families to uplift their own areas. So all these points you are going to learn in the rural development lesson, that is rural development. Meaning and significance of rural development. Rural development and decentralization. Just now we discussed all these points in the introductory part. Rural development and Panchayat Raj institution, rural development and women part in the rural development. So what is the meaning of rural development? Rural development refers to the process of economic and social upliftment of the rural areas. This also asked as a 1-mark question. What is rural development? So past 70 years our country is developed in many areas. Rural development is also one among them. So according to the previous census, that is 2011 census, 68.84 of the population lived in villages, and that is why Mahatma Gandhi ji said that the development of villages is essential for the true development of our country. So independence we got 70 years over, more than 70 years over. One third of the population lives in abject poverty. They are following the primitive methods and they are still under the poverty. And the development programs and plans have failed to improve social and economic development in the rural areas. There is a wide spread of a feeling that the development strategies that the Indian government adopted after independence promoted industrial and urban development and further disintegrated due to the competition from the modern industries, agriculture being non-remunerative and employment not being regular. The rural people continue to migrate to cities. When they are facing the poverty, they are supposed to upcome from the poverty, they are migrating to cities. The liberalization and globalization policies deepen these problems by promoting growth in industrialization, urbanization and service sector too. So consequently, poverty has increased among the rural people who depend mainly on agriculture. 60% of the work in the primary sector, the contribution from this sector to the national income is very less. If they are poor, how can they pay the taxes? It is very difficult for them, and we are not getting wonderful taxes for our country, and the economic development is also poor. In order to overcome this imbalance, it is necessary to develop rural areas. So all these problems to be overcome. For that sake, development of the rural areas are very much essential. It is an integrated process which includes social, economical, political and spiritual development of a poorer section of rural society. Society must develop. Social development has to be taken place. Economic, if they introduce the factories or any small scale industries, they can go for work, and economic development is also possible. Political, if the people of the village, they themselves will follow in the administration, and political development is also possible. Spiritual development, like introducing the fairs and the other festivals in the particular areas, they can uplift. So likewise, they started doing. Of course, they are doing, but it is not up to the mark. Stagnation and slow growth of agriculture is the prime reason for the rural backwardness and consequent poverty of the rural people. This question asked in a tricky way, why the growth of agriculture and stagnation is consequent in the rural area? Means the slow growth of agriculture is the prime reason of rural backwardness. Slow and stagnation. They are following the old methods. They are not following the technically advanced methods. Therefore, more rural non-farm activities need to promote, which requires improvement in literacy and skills, health, sanitation, improvement of infrastructure like transport, power communication, markets, credit, etc. all to be provided for the village people, so that the development of agriculture and expansion of irrigation and land forms also can be introduced. Of course, they introduced, but it became totally crucial. Thus, the rural development consists of a broad set of activities, including improvement of literacy, health, infrastructure, land reforms and irrigation, apart from taking specific measures for ameliorating the conditions of the disadvantaged people in the rural areas. They have to provide all these health benefit they have to give by introducing the primary health care centers, education, that is schools must be introduced in that particular villages, and other banking sector to be developed, and other technically advanced materials to be provided, so that the rural development is possible. So these are the reasons for the stagnation in the rural development. And next one is list of the activities essential for the rural development in India. What are the activities to be introduced by the government? Of course, government introduced, the implementation process is little slow and there is no any complete development. Certain villages developed, certain are not. So development of human resources including literacy, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ಫೀಮೇಲ್ ಲಿಟ್ರಸಿ. ನೋಡಿ, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ತಾಯಿ ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಯಾರು? ತಾಯಿನೇ. ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್, your mother only will insist you to read. So mother, the female literacy has to be developed. And education and skill development. Skill, one particular area they have to develop, not all, any one they have to develop. If they are skillful, they can do well. Health is wealth anta ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ವಾ. So health is very much essential. If health is nice, anything is possible. Addressing both sanitation and public health. Sanitation, nowadays we are observing each village as they are having the sanitation facility. That is toilets, establishment of toilets, building the toilets. Even for that, and also movies also came by Akshay Kumar, you might have seen. So these support given by the village side, so they can develop the health, public health can be developed. And land reforms ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, but again that to be reorganized. So land reform, development of productive resources of each locality. A locality ಮೇಲೆ each localities depends on that the land reforms to be implemented. Infrastructure of development like electricity, irrigation, transport facility, agricultural facility, all these to be developed. And specific programs for the alleviation of poverty na ಹೋಗಲಾರ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ special programs government introduce ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. And there are certain programs introduced, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, roads and the transportation, and Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, all these type of, there are many more developmental programs they introduced. So importance of rural development. What is the importance of rural development? If the rural development is possible, then only city people can lead their life comfortably by having their wonderful food. If the rural development is not possible, means how the cities can render their service, it is also not possible. So it is interrelated and interdependent. So importance of rural development we will see. So development of rural area include both agriculture and non-agricultural development, which contributes not only a village but also per overall development of the country. Village bari agriculture ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ಲ, there are many more other mixed farmings like poultry and beekeeping and sericulture. All these, if they develop, it is possible for the rural development. Agricultural season, non-agricultural season time also they have to depend on some other activities so that the economic development is possible. Increased farm incomes will create greater demand for industrial products, thereby generating employment opportunities. Provides better health facilities which result in higher work participation. Just now I told, if health is comfortable, they can earn more and more. Wealth is also possible. The proverb itself will say health is wealth. Helps in agro processing and development of a small scale and cottage industries. Rural development, it is important because it is feeding many raw materials for the industries. So it is helping agro processing like sugarcane manufacturing centers or tobacco or the other cotton. So many agro products are giving raw materials to the other small scale industries. And cottage industries, the availability of materials which is in villages, that is utilized for 100%. For example, coconut tree, if you observe, it is 100% utilization. You can use the coir for the bed manufacturing and coils, and you can manufacture ropes, and you can manufacture broomsticks, coconut oil. Many advantages are there in the coconut tree. So likewise, the cottage industry also can flourish. and reduces migration of rural people to cities. Many are depending on agriculture, and many rural people may not come to city because the availability of all these, if it is there in villages, how they will come to cities? They won't come. They will stay there only and develop the agriculture. Through that, our country also can get wonderful benefits. It also helps in the reducing poverty. So they are following the primitive methods, you can observe. If they use tractors and other materials, they can develop. So the second part of the lesson is decentralization according to Gandhiji. This is asked as a 3-mark question. According to Gandhiji, what is decentralization and what are the features of that? So providing administrative power and responsibility of developing the village to its own people is called decentralization. Gandhiji's concept of Grama Swarajya in light of decentralization. So people of the village has to depend on their own village, and they have to develop that village by their own creativity and their own skills. And decentralization is a process through which power sharing occurs and people participate in the decision making also. It is a process which AIMS aims at planning and development from the base level. Decentralization reduces various kinds of exploitation, upholds human independence and dignity, and nurtures human values like compassion and cooperation. Compassion, yes, zeal to do that work, that is agriculture and other similar agriculture works like mixed farming like cattle rearing, beekeeping, sheep's developing, and the other poultry, piggery, all these can be developed. And this process was called Grama Swarajya by Mahatma Gandhiji. Objective of Panchayat Raj is to promote decentralization. Means in this decentralization, Panchayat Raj and its work to be implemented so that the decentralization is possible and people can develop their own villages. So what is Panchayat Raj? What is Panchayat Raj and why the Panchayat Raj system was introduced in our country? It plays a very key role in enabling rural people to participate in rural development. They are responsible for the implementing of various schemes related to poverty alleviation and livelihood security, besides providing public amenities. They provide the rural community with basic facilities like roads, drains, drinking water, street lights, toilet, schools and hospital building, market yards, etc. Through encouragement of primary and middle school education, adult education, technical and vocational training, and expansion of health and hygiene facilities, panchayats have also attempted to develop human resources. So here we are having Panchayat Raj from the year 1993, the Constitutional Amendment Act, which established a uniform system, that is Panchayat Raj institution throughout the country. The Act conferred constitutional status to Panchayat institution. As per the Act, the 3-tier system of Panchayat Raj has come into existence. What are the 3 tiers? That is district level, state, taluk level and village level. Panchayats has been introduced. At present in Karnataka, we are having 30 Jilla Panchayats, 176 Taluk Panchayats and more than 6022 Grama Panchayats. What are the features of this Panchayat Raj system? 3-tier structure of district, taluk and village panchayat with Grama Sabha as a foundation. Direct and periodic elections, just like our president or prime minister or any other ministers. We are observing Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha elections. Likewise, here also they will conduct the elections every 5 years once. So direct and periodical elections are compulsory. And reservation of seats for the Backward classes, SC/STs, women are given here in the administration. And provision of executive support staff. Executive, you might have heard the collectors who are working for the Panchayat Raj system supporting. And support staff also will be there in the Panchayat Raj system. Strict procedures for dissolution and mandatory election within 6 months at dissolution. Dissolution after, within 6 months they have to conduct the elections for the next Panchayat Raj system. Means electing the next members. So role of Panchayat Raj system in the rural development. What is the role of Panchayat Raj system in the rural development? The PRI means Panchayat Raj institution plays a very key role in enabling rural people participating in rural development. It also facilitates roads, drinking water, toilets, school building, market yards, rural community. And it also help human resource throughout primary technical education, expansion of health and hygiene facility. It also provides public amenities but also implement schemes The role of Panchayat Raj institution in rural development. The PRI plays a very key role in enabling the rural people to participate in rural development, providing basic facilities like roads, drinking water, toilets, school building, market yards, rural community. And it also develop human resource throughout primary technical and educational expansion of health and hygiene facilities. It also provides amenities but also implements schemes related to poverty alleviation and livelihood security. And public distribution system in village is strengthened by the providing food grains to the people. Now you are observing Nyaya Bhele Angadi, that is fair shops. It is providing the food grains for the rural people. You are observing the pink card or yellow card likewise. So based on the income of the people, the food grains will be provided by the government itself. Social and cultural activities can be encouraged through fairs and festivals in villages. The celebrations like fairs, jatri and festivals, especially certain festivals will be celebrated in the villages, and that to be given importance. Employment opportunities can be provided to people through rural productive activities of agriculture. Like agriculture products, raw materials can be also developed into industrial sector like sugarcane, sugar industry, and cotton textile industry, and the the other materials like tobacco, the cigarette manufacturing industry, alcohol manufacturing, because based on the sugarcane waste they can manufacture. These type of industries they establish, through that they can give the employment opportunities. That's why rural development plays a very important role in the Panchayat Raj system. And housing program undertaken for rural people. So Pradhana Mantri Awas Yojana, Ambedkar, Valmiki Housing Program, Ashraya Yojana. These all are the yojanas. It's a type of programs introduced in the villages to give the shelter for many. They will construct houses like a single bedroom house or twin houses system, so that they can provide a wonderful facility for the shelter. Functions of the Gram Sabha is an important body of the Grama Panchayat. Grama Sabha meetings must be conducted at least once in 6 months. Grama Sabha prepares schemes like primary health care, veterinary, dispensaries, school facilities for the development of village during in this meeting. Every 6 months if they meet, they will give all these discussions, and that discussions will implement any wonderful benefits for the education field or the veterinary field or the primary health field. So adults who are in list of the villages are its members. They'll act as its members in the village. So these all are the agricultural byproducts, and that to be marketed through the fairs and all. They can get the wonderful benefits, and the healthcare centers, through that they can take the health facilities for the birth of the baby and the women also, pregnant women. So rural areas, the women plays a very important role of the development of their own rural areas. What is the role of women in rural development? This also asked as a 3-mark question. Women are rendering exceptional service in government offices, educational institutions, etc. For example, you are teachers only rendering service in the education field. Not only teachers, many women, doctors are there, engineers, so many fields. You name the field, you will observe the ladies. Women handle various responsibilities as political leaders at various levels of the government. Reservation has been made in Panchayat Raj institution for women to work towards rural development. You are observing many ladies, Uma Shri, Shobha Kalandlaje, and presently you are observing Mamta Banerjee and so many other members. And rural areas, if you observe, many are rendering their services. If the women is strong, the village can develop automatically. In Karnataka, more than 50% of women among the elected members of the Panchayat Raj institution we can see. So 50% are women, means equally men. Role of women, self-help groups. Women self-help groups have been created in villages in rural sectors that you already learnt in the previous lesson. They play a very significant role in not only agriculture but also in other fields also. They are making them financially independent. They are started women, that is financial support they are giving through the self-help groups. They help in mobilizing savings and in repayment of loans. They can take the loans and they can establish their own company or their own small scale industry. Through that they can get more benefits. They help women to get rid of the social evils like child marriages, dowry, caste system, exploitation of women, and the so many problems which they are facing, so they can overcome. So nowadays you are observing women who are completing their education, then only they will be ready for the marriage, because they just want to earn money. After the getting job and financial security, they are going for marriage. Yes, that is true. Even presently we are guiding the children, especially ladies, especially women. We use it to tell that if the girls are sufficient with the financial support, they can do wonders in their life. If they are financially weak, the society and other areas and men also dominating, and they cannot get any justice. If financially they are sound, women can easily overcome with this type of exploitation. So this is the lesson, that is rural development. Role of women in the rural development. You can see the pictures and where all the places they are working. Thank you.